Right. So these last two chapters have been interesting to say the least, primarily because everything is starting to fall into place. You're kind of reaching somewhat of a conclusion to Elbaf, given how quickly paced the Vegapunk arc was. Elbaf seems to be getting like a slightly similar paced uh, story, which is surprising because Wano went on forever, and then they did the quick egghead, and now I think they're going for a quick Elbaf, unless we have like a bunch of other stories coming up or like this fight drags on. Elbaf is going to end quickly, and I'm not 100% sure what we're doing over here. Elbaf is supposed to be one of the bigger arcs we were expecting, so I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I guess we're going somewhere with this. But the story is kind of falling into line with what classic narrative would say. Luffy and the Straw Hats are not really strong enough to go up against Emo. Even together, they're not strong enough to go up against Emo at the moment. And even though like we had some hope regarding that in the first few chapters that it made landfall, it's starting to show that they are not really prepared for this fight, which actually makes sense because in the long term they're going to have to grow a little bit more to basically beat the people who've been controlling the world. Anyway, so one amazing thing did happen for one of my favorite characters in this, and I am glad we're getting some spotlight on him. Not that he doesn't get much spotlight, he just kind of relegated towards the back in the big three, and that is Sanji, which we'll get to by the end of the 1186 discussion. So we start 1186 with Luffy and Loki against Emu. Unfortunately, that punch to Emu did not hurt him, and basically Emu is starting to throw hands real quick. He basically skewers Loki using the stigma ability. I don't even know how his abilities work. It's as strange to me as Luffy's abilities in general. His demon powers are as strange to me as Luffy's ability. And we do see some similarities between Luffy's and Emu's abilities in 1187. But I digress. We're gonna move forward from there, and while they're fighting now, so basically Emu and Luffy are fighting. Loki's kind of out of commission, and Emu keeps referencing to him as Joy Boy, and like obviously that's the fruit that Joy Boy had, or the ability that Joy Boy had, so probably through that perspective. But Luffy keeps saying that don't call me that. Now this was a while back, I think, when I initially started doing these videos, or maybe even earlier than that, I'm not 100% sure. But basically there was a part when Gear 5 happened where I thought that Luffy might have a kind of internal struggle with the personality inside the Devil Fruit. Again, this is assuming that there's a personality inside the Devil Fruit. So I thought Luffy might, when we first saw Gear 5's beginning, where like Luffy started smiling and everything during the Kaido fight, I thought that Joy Boy would take full control of Luffy and he'd basically have to find a way to fight back, which fortunately didn't happen. But the repeated iteration of Emu calling him Joy Boy and Luffy getting frustrated by the fact shows that there might be an internal struggle that we might, or I wouldn't say shows in this situation, I would say foretells there might be an internal struggle that Luffy might have with the personality in the Devil Fruit. This is given the fact that Devil Fruits have personalities in them, which is a very plausible theory in general, especially given like how we've seen some people talk about it, especially with Gorosei, saying that the gum fruit keeps escaping our grasp. It's like it has a mind of its own. And basically that's basically it. And inanimate objects usually have a personality. Like we've seen that inanimate objects can have personalities as well. So there is a chance. There is a chance that we see an internal conflict. Anyway, we move from this to the setup for the two other main fights that are going to happen, which is Zoro and Summers. Which honestly, like, I don't think Summers stands a chance against Zoro. But the second one that we're going to be seeing is Sanji and Killing Up. Now, I am really excited for this because they're foreshadowing Sanji getting fucking Conqueror's Haki. My god, dude. So apparently, we see that Sanji is basically going up against Killingham because he doesn't want to beat the water demon because it's a lady, so he's not going to do it. But because the person controlling it is not a woman, he can beat that person up, and therefore he'll win through that, which is kind of like, okay, like I understand Sanji's chivalry and everything, but in these situations where like there are little kids on the line, or let's say, and let's say you care about the moms, right? Like you're like, the mom shouldn't cry, right? So why not beat up one lady to stop like 15 other ladies crying? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. It absolutely has never made sense to me. Like there is a point where you're gonna have to be like, let's beat up one lady, like that. But anyway, moving aside, fortunately enough, the person that he's supposed to fight is of the male category. All right, so he can basically fight this person. But right before the fight is about to set up, what we kind of see that Sanji did have so apparently you can only beat the God Knights right now with Conqueror's Haki, and we see that he had a discussion with Scopper Gaban saying that why can I use color, basically Conqueror's Haki, and Scopper Gaban is like, yeah, you do have the qualities of that, but it seems like you're holding yourself back. You're not living up to the potential of a king because you are there is like a masochistic tendency in you that's just stopping you from reaching that height. And it seems that Sanji is right now contemplating what type of king he wants to be, and I really want to see this because Zoro is going to the king that Zoro wants to be is the king of the swords. Basically, that's his idea. Like he wants to be the leader in swordsmanship. All right, but Sanji really doesn't have, like, you can say he wants to be a leader in chef, but like he doesn't really have like that final end goal. Like the all blue is definitely his goal, which honestly we have not even heard too much about, which is kind of concerning. But he doesn't have this end goal. Like he doesn't have like, I want to be the king of this thing, which makes sense. So it's going to be interesting seeing Sanji come to that conclusion, like in this one, and finally use Conqueror's Haki, because I don't think he's going to be able to beat Killingham without Conqueror's Haki. So hoping we see some Conqueror's Haki from my boy. And then we come to Luffy, and we end the chapter on Luffy versus what you call Emu, where the interaction with Luffy and Emu happens, where he calls him Jabba and like, don't call me that, and that kind of like interludes into the fact that it could be that Luffy might face an internal conflict if Devil's Roots have personality. Coming to 888, so this chapter is completely about Emu and Luffy's fight. Really cool thing happened over here, which I really liked. And I wonder where this form is going to go. But anyway, so we're coming to 888. It's basically a fight chapter. Loki's still down. Luffy is fighting Emu. And again, Emu started throwing hands like crazy. And at one point, Emu's hand actually twists in the same way that Luffy's hand does to smack him in the face, which is kind of interesting because it seems like there's a very similar ability. I wonder what aspect of Imu's uh, abilities matches Luffy's, that he can warp reality to, because it seems like he has warped reality levels of power. Um, anyway, so we see Luffy go down, but then he comes back in this amazing genie form. I don't even know what he's about to do with this genie form, because it doesn't last for long, but I would like to see a lot more from this, because we've seen genie type abilities from one of Big Mom's sons. I would really like to see what they do with that, because it could be a foretelling of granting a wish in which it is freeing Gonko, because that's basically what we're looking forward to in this chapter. We see that when he comes back, oh, so when he comes back in the genie form, he's like, I'm gonna avenge Loki. I saw you kill Loki, I'm gonna avenge him. And Loki's like, I'm not dead, man. Just like hurt, but not dead. And Luffy's like, oh yeah, you're alive. Oh, I'm so happy about that. And then because he brought attention to Loki, Imu tried to kill him again, but then Jinbei actually blocked this. Like, Jinbei just came out of nowhere and blocked it, which is kind of interesting, because that shows that Jinbei has an ability to do that. Like, Freshman Karate might be sort of a solution. We then come to, after all this happens, we then come to like Imu taking the fight really seriously, and he uses his ability that basically robs everything of their life force, I'm guessing, in this situation, which makes sense, because so far what we've seen from Imu's abilities, it seems like everything is like, as soon as he enters it, he's kind of got a Big Mom type of ability, except it's like a contractual one where he can influence things that he's around. Very interesting. Not 100% sure how again, it's new. But then we come to like the serious part. Now, by the end of the chapter, we reach the point where Imu goes like super serious, and in the end, he stabs Luffy. Now, this is why I think like, he literally stabs Luffy right through the chest, and I don't know the repercussions of this, because this could be a very big repercussion, or it could be that the fact is Luffy's powers somehow negate his. And the way what Imu says in this situation, like, I know you're not Joy Boy, it's because he would never be so weak. And to be honest, it makes sense. Like, Joy Boy and Imu at that, what my perception of it is that Imu and Joy Boy were always of the same level, same height. So in that situation, Luffy is nowhere close, and it should not make sense for Luffy to run over Imu in this situation. The only way I can see Elbaf ending is, if you remember, when Imu came into Elbaf, he did have negative reaction to it. Like, he like coughed out blood. So I think there is a time limit to how long how long Imu can stay outside of Marijoa. And the entire point of this arc is to make sure to survive for as long as Imu can only stay on this one. So it's basically a timeout ability for Imu. So the Straw Hats need to survive long enough for Imu's time to run out, so that he has to retrieve. And it has to be in such a state where he cannot retrieve Gonko, which will allow Luffy to cure Gonko in this situation. So it's not really win or lose, because they're not winning this one. They are definitely not winning this one. This is kind of like a half Sabaody. I wouldn't say Sabaody 2.0. I don't think they're going to get split up or anything, but this is kind of like a half Sabaody, where the entire point is to run out the clock. It's kind of like Kaido's Kaido versus Luffy, the first round, where Kaido just demolishes Luffy. It's basically this. And it's basically to run out the clock until Imu goes away. I'm pretty sure Somers and Killingham will fall but we can't do that to Emu yet because he's just the main boss right now. So I'm pretty sure it's not gonna happen. We're gonna probably see him come around. Luffy's probably not gonna die. He's gonna probably be in a serious condition after this, but probably not gonna die because he's our protagonist. But it is basically a run the clock out kind of narrative at the moment. Looking forward to what comes out next. Honestly, I hope they can keep Gonko with them, the Straw Hats, because I really want to see what Luffy's abilities are able to do. If Imu's abilities are of dominion and control, Luffy's ability should be of freedom. So it should be a direct counter to any control abilities that Shuri is under. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. But that's basically it. Honestly, great chapters. Story's kind of heading the way you kind of want it to at the moment. And Sanji is finally getting some recognition. So I am happy about that. But let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below. If you guys like the video, consider leaving a like down below and subscribe to the channel. I've been Korogami. I'll see you guys in the next one.